We will be starting on the floor, just working on some breathing, making sure that we are getting that good diaphragm breathing in to help us get a little bit looser with that CNS later while we get through those movements. So make sure if you need a mat, make sure you take your shoes off. You will not need them. All right. So if we have a mat, we're gonna go ahead and just lay down on our back. We're gonna work on keep those hips neutral, doing a little bit of work there while we're also working on that breathing pattern. All right, so as we do this, we're thinking about making sure that we're bringing those ribs down. Because naturally our hips usually wanna come here, especially if we have a little bit of that shoulder, which most of us do because we have one cell phone. So we should make sure that we're bringing those back, make sure we're tucking those in while we're on the ground. And while we do most of our mobility movements today. So make sure we're bringing those hips, so full arch. If you can put your hands underneath, I want you to focus on trying to bring the tailbone up. So you want to tilt and pull that belly button through the floor while you're thinking about just going for a crunch. So if you're only doing crunches, or we're rounding and then getting momentum, that's why we're not feeling that core. We want to make sure that we're locking that in, keep that same position, feet are just resting on the floor. Your hands are going to go right above your pelvis. So make sure you find that pelvis. Your pinkies are going to go right there. Your thumbs right below your ribs. What I want you to focus on is breathing through the nose. As you breathe in through the nose, imagine you're trying to blow or take in into a balloon and you're trying to expand. So you're going to come in with the nose, filling those hands out, trying to fill out through the floor. And then as you go through, slowly back up that same way. You should hear it, if you do yoga, Pilates, you should hear it through that nasal, or you're breathing nice and slow through the mouth. You're breathing in. We're going to keep doing that for about a minute. I want you guys to get as relaxed as we possibly can before we kind of get you moving. I want you to make sure that body's breathing properly. Slow yourself down, so remember, into the nose. You need to close your eyes a little bit, focus on that breathing, focus on fill your hands. If you're competitive, see how far and how much you can fill those hands up. So remember, if those hips are moving back and forth, as we're filling up the air, you should be able to keep those ribs locked in. Expand the hands, your stomach should go up before your ribs. If it's just ribs, that means you're breathing shallow, which means that's why we stay tight. And that's why your body's probably tightening itself up when you don't even realize it, because we're not even focusing on that breathing or doing that breathing properly. So another 10 breaths in there. So remember, as big as we can on the inhale, you're thinking through the nose. I should hear that if I was there. Good. All right, from there, all we're gonna do is we're just gonna work those hips a little bit from the ground. So now, in that same position, all we're gonna do is get purposely those hips and spine to move in and out of place. So we're just gonna see what's feeling tight, what part of our back's feeling a little stiff. We're just gonna round that tailbone, get a little bit of arch. We're gonna come back into that position. Really trying to figure out that connection from those hips and that spine. So running forward, tucking under, and just get little, mini, almost like cat-cows on the ground. So we go for 30 seconds of that, just getting a little bit of movement in there, and then we're gonna add some more to it. Good, so thinking about not even pressing through those feet. Remember, they're just there. You're thinking all about the hips moving in and out of position, seeing it where it feels good, when your core turns on, what's feeling stiff. From that position, let's go ahead and take a quick little look. So as we're in this position now, we're thinking locking those ribs back in. I'm gonna drive through my right heel and I'm going to reach with my right hand. So I'm going to have us do, we're going to drive mostly through that right side to help you lift up and over, control it back down, reset the hips, reach, control, reach, and control that tempo. If you're feeling a lot of that hip, we will be working on that, and that's why your lower back's bugging you. If those hip flexors are tight, they put a lot of stress on those hips and that back. So each time you come back down, just like we did, I think inhale, as soon as you reach, you have that exhale. Focus on that breathing. Focus about trying to take that arm across the body right underneath that chin. And you can even look back at it and try to reach further and further each time. Make it a challenge, but just don't push too hard where we're going to injure our lower back. So I'm going to get a little bit of rotation in there. There we go. Nice. Okay, let's get another 2 more on each side. Good. All right, from that position, we are going to open up the spine. You make your arms out onto the letter T. You retract the shoulders, bring that sternum out. Make sure that we're trying to keep that lower back as flat as you can. From there, just bring those legs to that 90-degree angle. Remember, it's that door driving set with those feet. So make sure you're not going to the corner with the toes. Pull those heels out. From there, all you're going to do is slowly, as controlled as possible, slowly bring out those knees to the floor. And slowly bring it back in by squeezing the core, squeezing those obliques, controlling that range. If you find this part to get stiff, feel free to bring those legs down a little bit and away from your chest and kind of go around it. We'll get to there. Just want to make sure that we're not pushing too hard, too quick. All right, so remember, it's not about the reps, it's more about the control and where you lose control. Because we're trying to build that connection right now. And right around those hips, right above the right glute or the left glute on the side. You may feel a little bit more stiff on one side than the other. We're just trying to find out. Remember, same breathing pattern. In. Exhale as you rotate out. But make sure we're still pulling that belly button in, ribs to hips. Good. Let's get another 3 more on each side. Each time, think about trying to get a little bit more control or a little bit further. Make sure we're still squeezing those shoulders down. Keep that core locked in. As we go through it, our body may start going back to old patterns. So you want to make sure we're squeezing. Make sure we're breathing nice and deep. Good. From there, we're going to work 1 more in this position, then we're going to start switching things up. So as we're here, hands are still out to the side. We're going to go for those reverse crunches. So you're going to stay in that same position you've been in for that side-to-side rotation. What I want to see is your legs go out to get momentum. So we want to make sure we're already in that flat back position. From there, you're pulling that belly button, sucking that belly button through the ground, and then you're going to pull those ribs to hips, control, and slowly unwind back to here. So those feet go here. That means those hips are most likely going to round out. We want to make sure we lock them in. So come in, pull, squeeze, pull that for a 2 count, and go slow as you can back to your flat back. Which is a small range of motion from there to flat back. Legs don't move. Make sure those hip flexors aren't pulling you. Make sure we're pulling from the belly button all the way in. So remember, you're trying to control your way. If you can't go very far, even just squeezing it, it's going to help you build that connection and realize where your hip flexors are doing the work and when your core is actually doing the work. So remember, those knees go 90. They don't move, just the hips themselves. So you're trying to make sure that those hip flexors aren't doing it. So think about those hips like a fruit roll up. Pull that belly button in, squeeze, and keep that body full of tension. Make sure we're breathing. Now from there, you're gonna take those hands straight up to the ceiling. You're gonna leave those knees right where they're at. We're gonna go dead bugs. So we are trying to build that connection because now you have to maintain that position. You're gonna make sure we reach up towards the ceiling with those hands. You're in an active crunch position. Those hands are either straight up to the ceiling or one's coming back, going with the opposite heel drive. But make sure that shoulder is rounded off the ground. We want that active crunch. Good. Slower we go, the more we feel it, the more control of that body we have. That's what we're looking for. Control. Eyes looking straight up to the ceiling. Keep that neck in neutral. Make sure that neck's not pulling us. Make sure it's the shoulders rounding, not our neck coming forward. Because those traps are going to feel real tight after this if we're doing it with the neck. Remember, chin should be in line, eyes looking straight up to the ceiling. Look at that ceiling fan. Your poster of the rock up there, whatever you guys have, make sure you guys are looking straight up. Let's get 2 more on each side. Good. Now from there, all we're gonna do is just roll over to your side. We come through, feet still with that same angle, hips, knees, legs. We're gonna make that 90. We're gonna take those shoulders, we're gonna pull them back and down, away. Open palm on that bottom hand. Your head's still in alignment, so make sure we're not just letting it fall. We want to keep those shoulders out. It's an active movement, ribs to hips. So imagine I'm behind you. If you have a couch behind you, try to at least put your hips there so your hips don't flop around. We'll take that fully extended arm. You're trying to trace the ground like it's a crime scene. You're trying to put those hands like you would a chop. All right, so we're coming through. You're coming all the way up, pulling it all the way back and down. As you get past your ear, you rotate with the eyes. Go as far as you can. Figure out your chest, the lats, the shoulders are tight. You come back the same way. All right, so you're doing the upper back, that thoracic spine's moving. The lower back is staying there. All right, so make sure we're constantly squeezing the hips. So if you're looking at this view, we're here, shoulders are back, we're coming up. Once we get to here, we follow, come back, and back. Those hips don't move. Still focusing on that breathing. Remember, every time you go back to the center, I think you're breathing in. Once you start reaching, you're breathing out. You gotta focus on that breathing. If you get stuck or you find a spot that starts to pinch, slightly go around it, make a little detour, and then try to go as far as you can back to the ground, actively reaching those fingertips to the ground the whole time. See how close you can bring that elbow to that ear. You want to get that full range. Good, let's get 2 more. And then we're going to switch to a different shoulder movement while we're in this position. Nice. All right, so from there, stay in that same position as far as our body, just changing up the focus. So same thing. Shoulders packed, chest is out, hips tucked. We lock that in. Only thing we're changing is now instead of the arm being extended, palm up, you're now going to bring it into a 90-degree angle. Shoulders still pulling back. So that shoulder's up here, if we're about to take a nap, pull it back. We want that active position. From there, that 90-degree angle, all we're going to do is see how much internal rotation that shoulder currently has. We're going to go out, we're going to come back. Breathe in. On that exhale, we're going to push that wrist down. If you have an Apple Watch, imagine you're trying to bring the crease of your wrist, fingertips mean absolutely nothing. All right? So think the opposite of a challenge. I want you to think that wrist is coming down. All right, so we're going to do 5 that way. After those 5, you're going to take your other hand and you're going to help yourself out getting a little bit further, pushing into the ground. Then all we're gonna do is we're gonna push into that hand. Make sure we're breathing. And we'll see that we get lower and lower, challenging that shoulder. If you have shoulder issues, be careful in this and go a lot slower. Focus on where that pain is coming from. So real quick, everybody look at your shoulders. Is your shoulder near your ear or is it away from your ear? Because you want that shoulder as far away, back, go down, away. Remember, we want good posture. Tuck the hips. So even here, it's gonna be hard because naturally we wanna go here like we're on our bed. Especially if you're a side sleeper. This could be why you're getting some trap pain. So we're still going with those just body weight on the one hand. Then I'm gonna count us out doing the other ones. So let's get one more. Slow down that tempo just a little bit. Make sure we're breathing. Good. Once you get back to that 90, we're gonna take your other hand. You're gonna grab right, you're gonna make a watch with your hand. Make sure, as we're here, you're trying to push nice and slow, because remember, we're trying to build up the tension. So it's gonna start light. As I go from 1 to 5, you're thinking 50%, 60, 70, 80, and you're thinking towards that last second, it should be uncomfortable. So make sure we breathe in right now. Big inhale. Remember, we're gonna ramp it up. Here we go. 5, 4, slowly adding tension. 3, 2, 1. Now we're gonna hold that position. You're now pushing into it the opposite way. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Don't let that hand win. This is like an arm wrestling match. Neither one should win. Both of them should be creating tension through it. So if that arm moves, that means one of those arms is weaker than the other. All right, make sure that's locked in. Let's go again. Let's go down. 5, 4, 3. See if you can challenge it where that was. 2, 1. Remember that hand, that top hand does not budge. Let that bottom hand push into it. 5, 4. Don't let that hand win. 3, 2, 1. Breathe in, back down. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2. See if you can go a little bit lower. 1. Let that top hand win right here. Remember, push it down and then don't let it move. Because if that shoulder is weak, that's what we're gonna find out right now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, so pause. Who let that top hand win? Because I already know the answer, but who knows that they let their top hand win? So if we're doing that, and we're coming in here, we're coming here, we got a lot of range of motion. From there, if we let this hand win, or lose, I should say, and we're all the way out here, that means this side isn't very strong for letting it win. You want to make sure that we're adding resistance. You're actively trying to push this as hard here as you are up. And you don't want to go anywhere. You just want to build that connection. You want to build that space. So let's try that one more time. All right, so remember, shoulders are back. What's up, John? Lock those ribs in. So remember, don't let either arm win. They're siblings, they don't like each other, they're polar opposites. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No, don't let that arm win. Push it down as hard as you can. Same way you're pushing up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There we go. That's the difference right there. Good. Nice. We're gonna switch sides. So we're gonna go back. So remember, we're making that claw. It's now with the opposite side. So knees are at that 90. Make sure that those ribs stay locked in position. Remember, this hand's here. All we do is we come up. We're gonna keep those hands touching the ground. You're gonna follow that hand with your eyes. Make sure we're still focusing on that breathing. Imagine my foot is standing right next to you. So imagine my legs are right near your lower back. I don't want that lower back to move. Just trying to get rotation in that thoracic spine and that mid spine. Also challenging those shoulders for now because it's going to get a little bit better. There we go. Let's get 5 more. Each time you're thinking about trying to reach those hands closer and closer to the ground. You're thinking about trying to pull those shoulder blades back and down, keep that sternum up. You're trying to find those weaknesses right now. We want to exploit them. It's a good thing. It means you know what to work on. Let's get one more. Nice. All right, so from there, pull those shoulders back and down. Remember, we're taking that bottom arm now. So pull, even if we're here, just don't let it slide up here. We want to pull that trap. Make sure we're using the lats. Make sure you're using all of your back to make sure we're in that proper position, locking that in. From there, remember, you're pushing down for now. It's just the first 5. Just trying to see where that range of motion is. After that, we'll go another 5 in both directions with that top hand. So focus on that breathing. See if this one has more range. See if it's more challenging. One's most likely going to be a little bit more than the other. So remember, just find that pattern. You're going to go normal for 5 reps, and we'll go 5 together. Usually internal is a lot harder than external. Good. All right, so from there, focus on pinching the shoulders down away. Take that top hand. Remember, on this one, you're trying to use that top hand to help you get further. As long as we are breathing, your body's gonna stay a little bit more relaxed. It's gonna allow you to go a little bit further. Once we come back, don't let either one win. You want it to be a stalemate. All right, here we go. Remember, every second you're thinking about ramping it up slowly. Start about 50%, see if we can get to about 90% on that last one. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lock that top hand on it. Don't let it move. 5, 4. Make sure you're pulling that bottom hand up. 3, 2, 1. Slowly bring it back up. Take a quick little breather. Big inhale. Big exhale. To the mouth. Here we go again. See if we can get a little bit further. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Big inhale. On that exhale, think about trying to push it away. Use that wrist. Use that Apple Watch. 4, 3, 2, 1. Big inhale. Big exhale. Keep that tension. Shoulders back. Reset the body. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2. Oh, there we go. 1. Nice. Pull it up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One last one, everybody. Here we go. Big inhale. Big exhale. Relax that body. And let's start now adding some tension. 5, 4, 3. Remember, you're adding, you're squeezing harder. 2, 1. Other way. Squeezing those legs. Squeeze your booty. Squeeze your core. You're flexing everything. 3, 2, 1. Slowly bring it back up. So remember, as we create tension, if it's just up here where we're using it, that means you're missing out on strength and potential range of motion. Just like if we're doing a squat, we're keeping that back loose, you're gonna collapse. Same thing with the bench press. We want to squeeze the legs. Everything's a full body movement. Same thing on this. So as we're going through the move, you're squeezing everything you got. Now this is where it's gonna get a little bit more fun. All right, for me. Now, if we have a pillow, if you have a bench, Paige, that bench is perfect. If you have a bed, a day bed, whatever you got, remember a coffee table, something. We just want something for resistance and or to put our elbows and try to figure out where we're at with that upper body. All right, now, what we're gonna start with, again, thoracic spine, working our way down. If you have some shoulder limitations, keep your hands up on that elevated surface. As if we would a child's pose. All we're going to do is you're going to try to shoot your hips backwards. You're trying to shoot your head through the window. All right, so instead of here, where we're limited, we're just going to get a little bit more range. So if your chest is tight, don't go very far, but just make sure we're going to sink and make sure we still try to breathe. All right, so there's 2 options. You've got the floor, and you got the palms here. You know that you have good range of motion in your lats. There's also another option. So if you put your elbows here, you do the same thing where you try to shoot your head through the window. You can also sink from here. All right? We're trying to make sure that we're going to get more range. We're just trying to open it up. So you have three options. You have your child's pose. You have the elbows up, almost like we're getting arrested with your handcuffs. Or your arms out, and we're sinking through. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold this in two different variations, just like we did. We let our body sink into it, and then we're also going to push away. So we're going to think about actively opening up those lats and those shoulders. So do different directions. We're going to go 10 seconds one way, 10 seconds the other. We're going to do it 5 times, so we will get to breathe in between them. All right? So remember, find your position. Think about trying to tuck the hips. So we do still want to focus on that. That's going to be the hardest part of this as we come here. If we're doing a shoulder press, normally your hips want to slide out. You want to make sure that we're still tucking as we come up, so that we're getting that nice neutral spine as we go through. So make sure we ribs the hips. This one is just passively breathing and letting your body sink into that stretch. All right, so we're going for 10 seconds. Here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, keep breathing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're staying in that position. You're that passive now turns into active. You're trying to push those palms through or those elbows. Remember, slowly building up tension. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and come up. Take a little breather. So real quick, I'm going to ask a question. Who felt lats? Who felt the side of the body when they pushed? They want to feel chest when they did that. If that's a little bit tighter. They want to feel traps when they did that. So those are different things that are taking over the movements. So if we're normally doing our daily activity and we're pushing away, it might mean our shoulders are coming with it. So your traps might be taking over. If we're here and it's all chest, where we have rounded shoulders because we've been working at the desk for years, that's also going to do that too. So what we're trying to do, open up the chest as we push through, make sure those lats are engaged. You can also play around with that elbow angle. So if you have that shoulder range of motion, you can also change that angle as we push through. Should be getting a little bit more lats. All right, here we go. So remember, 10 seconds of passive. And we'll do the same when we slowly push through, increasing that tension. So that first 10, here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Big inhale. On that exhale, make sure we tuck, make sure we squeeze the legs, and you're pushing those arms through the ground. Here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. We'll do that one more time. Now, if you have the ability to do that, let's try to do it this way and really open up the lats and the chest. If your shoulders will allow it, let's try it out. So let's get that big inhale, big exhale. Tal, you better be using a table in front of you that I don't see. If not, there's a couch right next to you. There is no excuses. All right, just making sure, because I can't see it. All right, so remember, if you got it, see how far those elbows go up? Just make sure that we're not arching our back to get there. Just make sure we lock it down. If you don't go very far, we're still gonna get a nice stretch through the neck and the lats as we go through it, all right? So we're gonna go 10 seconds on this one of actively just letting it sink. Then we go 5 seconds of actively driving those elbows through. So tuck the booty. Yep, there we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're at a big inhale. On that exhale, slowly increasing just like we've been doing. There we go. 5, 4, start squeezing a little bit harder. 3, 2, squeeze that whole body. 1, slowly bring it on up. There we go. You felt a little bit different stretch on that one. Good. Very good. All right, so we're gonna keep that going with blocking out parts of the body. What we're now going to do is we're gonna stay on that same position. We're gonna stay tall with the shoulders. That thoracic spine is no longer going to move. We're gonna start working our way down a little bit. From this position, we wanna see how far those hips can go. All right, so from belly button down is what we're working on. We're doing little mini twerks at home. All right, so shoulders are back. All we're gonna do is remember, take a roller coaster, get a little race car, get your 2-year-old just racing up and down your back. Those hips lead the way. So imagine that tailbone is the leader. Shoulders are back. Remember, they don't move. We start creating tension through the feet. We come in with the hips. Once we get locked on the hips, slowly bring it back. You're trying to create as much range as we can through that lower back. And we should be able to come up and back without those legs extending. We should create movement. So on your own tempo, you're going as slow as you can. Imagine you're going one by one as we go through it. Every time you move, think about that inhale. Think about that exhale. Think about the intention of the movement. And you're focusing on trying to keep that chest out so it locks out that upper spine. If you go far enough with that tailbone, you may feel a nice little burning sensation in that lower back, if it's tight. But if it starts going above a 5 in the pain, don't push it. You're just trying to create as much tension as you can. Also, play around with that knee position. You can take those feet a little bit wider and those knees a little bit wider. It may help you get more range. If they're too close, you're gonna lock yourself out. So think at least hip width. PJ, take those knees away a little bit. There you go. Nice, John. Good, Carla. Kendall, I bet it looks great. Tal, I don't know where you went once again, but you better be doing it. There he is. Good, let's get 3 more. Every time you get one full round, make sure you get a full inhale and exhale before you start the next one. Nice. Very nice. All right. So let's go ahead, sit on up. We're going to put all of that together. We're going to get that rotation, we're going to get that flexion, we're going to get that extension, we're going to get all the spine together. So if you have a foam roller, this is the time for those pillows. If you have a med ball or something you can bear hug, so even like you get like a small little baby or a puppy, use that. Perfect. You got a Swiss ball. That is perfect right there. If you have Swiss balls, we just want something so we can help ourselves create some tension. Perfect, PJ, that'll work. Feel free to squeeze your significant other if they've been pissing you off today. Just freaking anaconda squeeze them. All right, so if you guys have not done this around the world setup, this is how it's gonna be. What we're doing, you're gonna keep your toes in that dorsiflex position, so it's gonna help you create some tension. From there, you're gonna sit on a foam roller, some pillows. We just wanna make sure we're locking out now the hips. All right, so you wanna make sure you can put it on the heels, put it right underneath. That's your preference. Just make sure as we do this, your hips are not leaving. That's why you want some feedback right here. All right, so make sure we lock that in. From that position, what it's gonna look like without the ball is this. So we make sure, again, remember, hips down, create the base and the tension for this movement. We're gonna take those arms across like a mummy and come down. From that down, you rotate, you come down to the side like a hip tip, you rotate, rotate that chest to the ceiling. You come back from that back. You then rotate, squeeze down, start rounding like you would a crunch. Once you get here, you go back, down, round. We'll let that spine do its thing, right? If you have that nice object, that Swiss ball, net ball, pillow, whatever it's going to be, you squeeze, same thing. Now we have something a little bit more for tension. Do the same thing, you reach. Now you have a spotlight on your sternum, and you're trying to get that in a massive circle to help that Titanic not crash and get home, right? So here, rotate, keep going, come back, keep that tension, rotate, squeeze, and down. So slow as you can, just like we did with the cat-cow, you're trying to find every range. And if you find a spot where you're tight, slightly come back from it and then go around. Remember, make a little detour. PJ, see if you can round those shoulders a little bit more. This one you want as bad of posture as you can possibly get. You guys won't hear that from me very often. But you purposely want bad posture. And make sure that head's not leading the way. Make sure it's your shoulders leading the way. Because I know we like to throw our head around to make sure that's going that direction. But we want to start moving with those shoulders, because that's how you control the movements, is the shoulders, not the head. Make sure we're still breathing. Make sure we're breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. Good, so I have a challenge for everybody. Freeze. We got this real good right here. But who has the rotation to go with it? So remember, as we're here, if I'm still locked down from here, I'm trying to go here, then I'm trying to go as far with this opposite armpit to that hip as I possibly can. I'm trying to wind up, then I'm trying to come down, then I'm coming back, then I'm trying to take this armpit, that shoulder, and then that. So imagine if I'm doing a golf swing, if I'm doing a baseball swing, tennis, whatever it may be, I want to wind up before I go. Imagine you're like the top. So squeeze those hips, squeeze those feet, keep that tension. Remember, creating new patterns, new space, new ranges. How far can we look back, reach with that opposite armpit? PJ, look like you're cold. Try to get that X. So you get a little bit more flexion. There you go. Sal, give me that turtle shell. There you go. Become a Ninja Turtle right now. Let's get one more in each direction. I want you to create as much tension as you can, as slow as you can, intentional as you can. How far can we go? How far can we flex? How far can we go backwards? Keeping those hips locked in a neutral. If this is something you've never done before, it's going to exploit a lot of our good stuff we can work on. There we go. See, that was fun. That was really fun for me. I don't know about you guys. So who realized that they cannot move side to side on that? It's hard to do. When we're used to reaching, but usually we go with it. We get momentum. So when we actually have to use our obliques, we have to use that rotation of the spine and stability from the hips, it's going to be a little different as we go through it. So just like we did in the beginning block when you're here, if you couldn't get very far, it could have been either the hip flexors or it could have been the rotation itself. So what we're going to do is now, if you have that chair, that same thing we use for the thoracic spine, we're going to try to challenge those hip flexors a little bit. All right, so what we want to do is you want to make love to whatever you used for that thoracic spine. What I mean by that is this. You're going to turn those hips and lock them out. So I want to make sure as we go, we're not throwing the hips up with it. That's not going to help us. What we're going to do, hip crease, shoulders are back, we're going to keep that knee 90. So remember, if we already feel a stretch, bring it to neutral. From there, you slowly come up with that heel. Once you feel like you can no longer go back, Slowly bringing it back in. I want that control. I want to see what, if our hip flexors are tight, where that range is. All right? So we're going to go 15 as slow as possible. I want it to take 5 seconds up, 5 seconds down. I want you to think really intentional. You're constantly thinking opposite. So as that foot goes up, that pulley system of your body, that glute, is actually tucking down. It's going to feel really, really weird. I want you to tuck as you drive out, because then your hip's not going to pop out with it. And if you feel tightness in squats, running, walking, this will also let us know if it's coming from the hips or maybe the feet. We're just going to figure it out. So remember, trying to keep that foot at a 90 with that hip. Try to drive that foot up, nice and controlled, keeping tension in that upper body, keeping those shoulders back, ribs to hips. If I were to come by and smack your stomach, I want to make sure that you're keeping that flexed. There we go, I like it. Those hips are staying tucked underneath. Remember, you're constantly squeezing that booty towards the ground. As that heel goes up, it's going to feel a whole lot different. And you got a lot more tension, a lot more connection, which helps you do what, Tal? What does a better connection do? Helps you build the peaches. Carla, it's always peach season. We're always farming. Good, once you get those 15, we'll switch legs. If one leg is more dominant than the other, it could also be coming from here. If you played soccer, if you ran, still run, very often it's coming from those hip flexors that you're going to get some lower back pain. Good, remember, don't forget, you're constantly squeezing that booty forward, ribs to hips. You should get a nice stretch in that hip flexor. Nice, John. Good. Once you get those 15 on each side done, go ahead, take a look at me so I know we're done. This is just like school. If you're still working, I don't know. Because I never listened to my teacher either. I just kept talking. So I'm just making sure I'm doing the same moves as you guys. Except you guys can't walk the quad like I used to have to do. And all you guys know, I talk a lot. All right, good. So this is where it's gonna get more fun. All right, so it's a goal, doesn't mean we have to hit it. The goal is we're now working our way still to the hips. Now, if you have something slightly lower, or you have some kind of visual, so if you have a foam roller, if you have a block, whatever it may be. So either one's gonna work on this. We're gonna bring it to those hands and knees. From that position, just like last week when we did standing, this week we're just gonna do it on our hands and knees, so a little bit more locked out. Less balance focus. What I want you to try to do is bring those hips in, that chest stays out, remember arms stay extended, feet drive through. From this position, you're going to bring that knee as far as you can forward. From there, you're going to bring those hips tucked, then that knee you're going to bring out, around, and back. Slow driving that front hip. Make sure those hips aren't shifting. All right, so remember, hips, that side view. If I'm here, shoulders are back, hips tucked, core locked. I come in as far as I can. I keep that knee coming out. Then it's the heel that I focus on. Come in, out, back. All right, so remember, a block works, a pillow works. Just make sure, just like we did those hip flexors, that we're not letting those hips pop out like a twerk. That's later tonight. So on your tempo, you're thinking just as controlled as we did. Remember, you're thinking 5 seconds one way, 5 seconds the other. If you can take it to 10, this means you're exploring that hip even more. You're gonna give me 8 on each side. That's how I try to bring that right hip down a little bit. Give a little Furby sitting on your hip. Don't let it fall off. There it is. Remember, it should be uncomfortable. If it's not, you're doing it wrong. Good. Shoulders are back. Constantly trying to pull those hips forward. Always thinking opposites, which is not normal. It's resetting our body. Once you finish either front or back, make sure you inhale, exhale. Remember, if you stay tight, your body won't let you go anywhere. It's protecting itself. 8 on each side. Remember, you're thinking 5 to 10 seconds in each direction. Again, one hip might be a little bit tighter than the other. Good, collar trip. Make sure we push that left hip down, push the left hip down. There it is. Dang, John, that's impressive. Are you doing this in jeans? Not bad. Good, think of it like that knee tuck. If you're able to bring that knee to that forearm and even pass it, that means you got a lot of range as long as those hips don't dip. Keep that tailbone facing that wall behind you. Nicely done. Once you get those 8 on each side, go ahead and sit on that tailbone, sit on those feet, or just make sure we make eye contact with me. Make it awkward. Oh, wow. It got so intense over there, Tal took his glasses off. Oh, man. All right. So from there, we're going to keep this going down. We're now going to work. We did the whole range. We did here. Now we're going to try to get abduction of that leg, which is always the weakest part most of the time. There's 2 options. There's a challenge, and there's our normal way. Just know where you're at. All right, so we're taking to that 90-90. This is the start if you've never done this. Our goal is that if I'm falling to the side, that means this side is really, really tight and will not allow me to go there. So you have a block, a pillow. Make sure you push yourself up, because you're going to find that neutral position. Now, as we're in this position, you're also trying to drive that front knee down the ground. If that's also not working, just feeling tight in your hips, and need a direction. It can be all over the place. So make sure we're here, constantly squeezing from this hip, constantly driving this knee down, creating tension through the feet, the knees, and staying nice, tall, shoulders are back. Should line up just like mine is. All right, it's tight. What we're doing is we're going to hold this position. We're going to go down. We're going to relax. Bring it back down. Just building that connection, because we're going to build that connection before I'm going to have you guys pull that knee away. All right, so on that 90-90, remember, toes, heel, knee, feel the hip. If you need that visual, put those arms out like an airplane. Make sure it's aligned with it. Make sure those hips, as much as you can, are rotated to that front leg. Make sure you're parallel to the hips. Let's put in this position. Shoulders are back. You can go to the fingertips. Still okay. All right. As we're here, you're getting about 5 seconds, just like we've been doing, creating tension. The harder we squeeze, the more we're getting that connection. So we're back, tuck the hips. We need to come either forward or back slightly to maintain. Let's do it. All right. So remember, shoulders are back, tuck, breathe in. Start squeezing your hands, start squeezing that back leg and front knee down. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly relax it. Do that 2 more times. Big deep breath in. Fill up that balloon. Start adding tension. Drive the legs, squeeze the arms. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One more. Your body's starting to shake. You're doing it right. If it's not, squeeze harder. Right? Imagine you have a $100 bill in your booty. I'm trying to pull it away. Squeeze the cheeks together. Right? Big deep breath. Exhale. Start that tension. Drive that knee. Drive that back leg. Squeeze that upper body. 5, 4. Squeeze harder. 3, 2. Push further down. 1. Slowly bring it back. Show hands. We just start shaking. Okay? Just a couple hands there. Good. Now, this is where the challenge is. If you want a challenge, send that front leg. That's only if we're there, though. That range of motion's not there yet. We're going to get there. Otherwise, same position. You're going to take that hand back behind. Chest is out. Make sure we stay nice and tall. As we go through it, I'm trying to pull the left knee away, constantly driving that right foot down. All right? So, as we're here, you're going to get a big inhale, fill up that balloon. Exhale, keep driving that knee. You're trying to pull this knee away. That's like we put a clam or a butterfly, creating tension on the outside of that glute. 3, 2, 1. Slowly bring that back down. Big inhale. Let exhale. Get that tension, squeeze that chest, squeeze that leg down. Squeeze and pull that knee away. You should be feeling both glutes. Right at the top, right at the lower back. 2, 1. Slowly bring it back down. 1 more. Big inhale. Let exhale. I want you to start off where you think you left off with tension and see if you can build off to it. So bring that knee down. Start squeezing. Start squeezing more. 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 Squeeze that chest out. Drive those arms through. 3, 2, 1. Slowly bring it back. Go ahead and rotate. All right. As you can see, this side is a little bit tighter than that side. So now, really big push. So remember, if you need a pillow and you put a yoga mat or pad, anything, go ahead and grab it. There's nothing wrong with that. It just means you're tight at the moment. And or those muscles aren't working like they have been in the past or have ever. So review. Remember, put yourself in the center, rotate, get that block, driving that front knee down, knee heel, chest is out, tuck the booty. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly relax. Take a deep breath. Here we go. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe that tension. So you can ramp it up again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly bring it back. So that last one on this side before we pull it apart. And as hard as you can, you're going to pull that knee away from the empty space through the ground. You try to kick this leg straight through. Here we go. Breathe in. Drive those arms through, create that tension. 5, 4, keep squeezing. 3, 2, squeeze harder. 2, 1. Nice. So remember, 2 options, extended or 90. You're going to need this version. It's going to look like this if you have that range. Otherwise, it's like we did. All right? So, big chest. Heels stay locked in. Driving that left foot down. Close your back. Squeeze the core. In. Breathe out. Here we go. 5, 4. Squeeze that front knee down. 3, 2, 1. Slowly bring it down. You need 2 big inhales and exhales. Work on breathing through the stomach, through the diaphragm. Here we go. Keep tension, squeeze that front leg down, pull that knee away. 5, 4, squeeze a little harder. 3, 2, 1. Good. One last one. Good. 3 big deep breaths. All right. Start bringing tension in the shoulders. Start squeezing those forearms to the ground. Throw that front leg. Start lifting. Start squeezing and pulling away. 5, 4, 3, 2. Everything you got right here. 1. Hold it. Good. Slowly bring it back. So who realized that they can't go very far, or who went a lot far? Who is just absolutely hating me right now? Because I'm used to that too. All right. Nice. All right. One last move. So as we set this up, right now challenge that outside of that glute like we just did. We're just going to take it to that single leg variation of that frog. So if you need to elevate something, if you don't need to go very far, that's fine. The goal is to try to rotate, externally rotate that foot as we go through it. All right? So as we're going here, if you can't, keep it neutral. So there's 2 options. Either here, toes are out, or feel free to go here. All right? Just know where that hip's at. Just try to create some tension in the rotation of that hip. Let's start off. Left leg is going to be down. Like we've been doing. Legs are locked in. Stay nice and tall. Opposite foot is going out with that heel. Try not to go ballet dance yourself. Heels out, ribs and hips. Stay tall, shoulders are back. On that exhale, you're just trying to push yourself into a deeper stretch. Just make sure that those hips don't move. When those hips move, freeze and come back so you can kind of reset. Once you find that limitation, I want you to stay there and breathe. See if you can sink. Just like that shoulder earlier. I want to see the more you breathe and relax that body, if that leg, that body will relax for you. One more big deep breath. See if we can push a little bit more. Good. Slowly bring yourself back. We're going to switch legs. Lower the toes are down. If you can, think about trying to rotate those feet out. From there, all we do, switch that leg. Same position, shoulders are out, chest is out, tuck those hips, lock that position, and we breathe. Maybe a little bit less tension, maybe a little bit more you're relaxing, challenging that movement, make sure we're not overextending that knee. See if you can breathe out of that stretch, breathe out of that pain if you're experiencing it. But remember, if it's above like 5, don't push it, just breathe and slightly bend that knee. You need 3 more big deep breaths in and out. Good. Slowly walk yourself back down. Oh. Nice job, guys. Nicely done. Got all the body on that one. Who's feeling really well connected and or like, oh my God, I have some work to do? Because I'm pretty sure we all do. Nice job, guys.
I really feel that when I get my leg out there, I can't get my leg all the way out. And
You feel them on the inside or the outside, John?
inside of the legs.
Yeah, that's generally where I feel it as well. that's why I like that version, because you can do it like both legs down like that, or single leg, which is more almost like if you're gonna switch, like if a baseball player is getting that first base. It's really just stretching in a different manner. So I'm a big fan of that one. But it's also, there's also different variations to do that as well. So like now it's like if you're doing like a Cossack squat, right? Very similar pattern. So when we're here, we rotate that toe. Now we're into that limitation's coming more from here, not necessarily that backside. See, John, I told you I'd do a little bit more of Jeff's style. It was just a little bit different last week. I gotta mix and match it. Well, nice job, guys. So remember, every Friday, I think for now, is still gonna be me. Thursdays, we got the lower half, the body, the core, the booty, the legs, the hamstrings. If there's moves you guys have questions on, remember, if you're like, hey, I'm not feeling things right on body weight, or if we have weights, we have the luxury of those, hit me up, let me know, send me a video of it. I can kind of assess it from afar. And 2, remember, if there's questions on anything, or if you guys want me to start posting some mobility blocks like this, where you just need ideas, workouts, whatever, that's what we're here for. Ask. All I can do is ask a question. All right, enjoy your weekend. I'll see you guys next Thursday and Friday. All right, enjoy your weekend. Stay cool because it's hot.